Magnesium is one of the most recommended supplements for sleep. You've probably seen it everywhere, on YouTube, TikTok, or wellness blogs. But does it actually improve sleep? Or is it just another popular idea that sounds good? Magnesium is often described as a natural way to relax the body and calm the mind. People take it to fall asleep faster, sleep deeper, and wake up more rested. And unlike sleep medications, it's seen as safe and natural. But popularity doesn't always mean effectiveness. So in this video, we'll look at what magnesium actually does in the body and what human studies say about its effects on sleep. Let's start with the basics. Magnesium is an essential mineral involved in hundreds of processes in the body, and some of these are directly related to sleep. First, magnesium helps regulate the nervous system. It supports the activity of GABA, a neurotransmitter that promotes relaxation and reduces neural activity. In simple terms, GABA helps your brain slow down. Magnesium may also help reduce muscle tension and support a calmer physiological state. There's also some evidence that magnesium can influence melatonin, the hormone that regulates your sleep-wake cycle. So, from a biological perspective, it makes sense that magnesium could support sleep. But this is important. A mechanism does not guarantee a real-world effect. To understand that, we need to look at actual human studies. So, what does the research say? Some randomized controlled trials, which are the gold standard in nutrition research, do show benefits. For example, one study in older adults with insomnia found that magnesium supplementation improved sleep time, sleep efficiency, and even increased melatonin levels. Participants also reported falling asleep faster. But there are a few important limitations. These studies are often small, and they're usually done in specific populations, like older adults, or people with existing sleep problems. So the results don't always apply to everyone. When researchers look at the bigger picture, combining multiple studies and systematic reviews and meta-analyses, the conclusion is more cautious. Magnesium does appear to have a positive effect on sleep, but the effect is generally small. Not zero, but not dramatic either. So magnesium isn't useless, but it's also not a powerful sleep intervention. This brings us to a key question. Who actually benefits from magnesium? The strongest effects are usually seen in people who are deficient in magnesium. And this makes sense. If your body is lacking something important, correcting that deficiency can have noticeable effects. Magnesium deficiency is not rare, especially in people with poor diet quality, high stress, or certain health conditions. Another group that may benefit are people with poor sleep to begin with. If your sleep is already good, adding magnesium probably won't make a big difference. But if your sleep is disrupted, even a small improvement can be meaningful. So magnesium is not a universal solution. Its effectiveness depends heavily on your baseline. Now, let's talk about something very practical: the form of magnesium. Not all magnesium supplements are the same, and the form can affect both absorption and how well you tolerate it. Magnesium glycinate. This is one of the most popular forms, especially for sleep. It has relatively high bioavailability, meaning your body can absorb it efficiently. It's also well tolerated, and less likely to cause digestive issues. And importantly, it's bound to glycine, an amino acid that may have calming effects on the brain. Because of this, magnesium glycinate is often considered one of the better options for sleep support. Magnesium citrate. This form is also well absorbed. However, it can have a mild laxative effect, especially at higher doses. For some people, this isn't a problem, but for others, it's not ideal, especially before bedtime. Magnesium taurate. This form is often marketed for heart health rather than sleep. It combines magnesium with taurine, an amino acid that may support cardiovascular function and have mild calming effects. Because of this, some people assume it may also help with sleep. However, when we look at the evidence, there are very few direct studies on magnesium taurate and sleep outcomes. So, while it's a reasonable option, it's not specifically supported as a sleep supplement. Magnesium oxide. This is one of the most common forms, mainly because it's cheap, but it has relatively low bioavailability. That means your body doesn't absorb it efficiently. So, even though the label might show a high dose, the actual usable amount is lower. Magnesium threonate. This form is often marketed for brain health because it may cross into the brain more effectively. But when it comes to sleep, the evidence is still limited. So in simple terms, if your goal is sleep support, magnesium glycinate is usually the most practical choice. Citrate can work, but with some side effects. Taurate is more relevant for heart health than sleep, and oxide is generally not the best option. What about dosage? Most studies on magnesium and sleep use doses in the range of 200 to 400 milligrams per day. This is typically taken in the evening. More is not necessarily better. Higher doses can increase the risk of side effects, especially digestive discomfort. And consistency matters more than taking a very high dose occasionally. Now let's set realistic expectations. Magnesium is not a sleeping pill. It doesn't work like melatonin, and it definitely doesn't work like sedative medications. You're not going to take it and suddenly feel sleepy within minutes. The effects, if they happen, are usually subtle and gradual. Think of magnesium as a supporting factor. It can help create the conditions for better sleep, but it won't override poor sleep habits, high stress, or late-night screen use. Sleep is a system, and magnesium is just one part of that system. So, does magnesium help with sleep? Yes, but only to a certain extent. Here are the key takeaways you should remember. Magnesium plays a real role in relaxation and nervous system function, but having a mechanism doesn't guarantee a strong effect in real life. The scientific evidence shows a small but positive impact on sleep. Not dramatic, but not zero. Magnesium works best if you are deficient or already struggling with sleep. If your levels are normal, the benefit will likely be minimal. The form matters. Magnesium glycinate is generally the best option for sleep. Citrate is effective, but may cause digestive issues. Taurate is more relevant for heart health and has limited evidence for sleep. Oxide is poorly absorbed and not ideal. Typical doses range from 200 to 400 milligrams per day. And most importantly, magnesium is not a quick fix. It works, if it works, as part of a bigger system. That includes sleep habits, light exposure, and stress management.